Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. You're with the Gypsy Caravan. I'm Shan. You didn't know. So for today's video, number one, let's just talk about the absolute obvious. I am a mess. I'm not happy with the way I did my makeup, and I'm just like, I was so deep into my makeup routine, I'm like, you know what, I can't turn back now, so I'm just gonna have to make it work. So I'm just not feeling it. But I really wanted to do this video for you. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to suck it up. I'm going to be a big girl about it. And I'm just going to do it. Yes, I don't know if it's maybe because I just have not been feeling well for like the past week. Like lately, I've just been feeling so fluey and so sick that I'm almost starting to get nervous or scared that maybe I have the virus. But I don't have any of those symptoms. I just have like normal sinus and flu symptoms. So I'm not really sure. So I'm hoping it's not, because I don't want to be another statistic, okay? So after all that chatty Cathy whateverness, let's get into the video. So for today's video, as you can see here, I have my little laundry basket with all my brushes. Today I'm going to be discussing with you my favorite brushes, why they are my favorite brushes, what I use them for, and these are seriously like my absolute go-to. I will reach for them without even thinking about it sort of brushes. So if you want to see what brushes I use and what brushes I really love to go for, and you need some recommendations because you need some good brushes, then just keep watching. Okay, so before we get started into the video, I just want to say a quick little two-piece and a biscuit. So whatever brushes you choose to use, or whatever brand you buy your brushes from, that's on you and what you prefer. For me personally, it's not so much about the makeup, but if my brushes are of really good quality and I know will last me like 10 to 15 years, I will invest and I will make a point of buying more high-end brushes. So most of the brushes that I have here today are from MAC Cosmetics, and the reason for that is because I used to work with them. Obviously I got major discounts on my brushes. I sometimes got gifted brushes, and it's just the thing when you work with a brand, like those are the brushes that you use. But over and above, even if I were not working for MAC, I would still purchase their brushes because they do have some really good high-end brushes. But I do have some slightly cheaper but of the same quality kinds of brushes in today's video. Okay, so I'm kind of just going to start at the beginning and move forward. So I'm going to start with face brushes. Okay, so normally some artists love to apply primers with a brush. So for that, my favorite brush is the 188 Duo Fiber brush from MAC Cosmetics. So the reason why I like this brush is because it's duo fiber, which means it has two different kinds of fibers, which in return, when you apply product, is gonna not only distribute the product more evenly with the synthetic bristles, but with the natural bristles, it's gonna give the skin a more even, smooth, natural finish. So that's why I kind of like to use this for primer and for foundation, but I will strictly reserve this brush for like my more liquidy foundation. So like my face and body, for example, sheared out, very natural, blended in finish, and that's why I like this. For primers, it just distributes the product really evenly, and it doesn't steal product. It puts product down, but it does pick up or soak up any excess that you may have heavy-handedly applied. So that's why I really like this brush. Favorite brush to apply foundation other than my 188 brush is my 170 like angled kabuki brush from MAC. This is technically called a slanted dome brush on the website, I think. I'm not really sure. So I really like this brush because it's super soft, it's super bouncy, so it almost kind of has the feel of a sponge. That's how like soft and bouncy it is, but it's still quite a dense, almost like a kabuki type sort of brush. So I'll reserve this brush for like my thicker consistency of foundations or like cream foundations, or if I'm applying a cream contour or liquid contour, or using concealer to contour, or any kind of liquid to like contour and bronze the face, then I'll go in with this brush. It's a super soft brush. Like you can see there's a lot of movement, so it's not like super tightly packed, which means that it just really buffs out foundation so that it looks super natural, and it just spreads it out on the face super evenly as well, so you don't get like any streaks or any like buildup or like cake up on the face or anything like that. So that's why I really like this. It just buffs product in so beautifully that it looks very natural and very seamless. So this is the 170 slanted dome foundation brush from MAC, I think. Okay, so moving on to concealers. I know this sounds quite excessive, but I will go back and forth between 3 different brushes or a beauty sponge, but because this is like my favorite brush video thing, we're going to keep the brushes. So the first brush I want to mention is a Morphe brush. So it's a little bit more inexpensive, but still of really great quality. And it's the collection that Morphe did with Jaclyn Hill. It's the JH30 brush. So this is called the Beast Blending brush, I think. I really don't know. There's like very specific names for these, but the code is JH30. So the reason why I like this is because it's a long bristle brush. This one is of a synthetic fiber, so it will pick up product and distribute it evenly on your skin. So it's not going to be the kind of brush to steal product. So I'll use this for concealers that are super liquidy and super sheer to like blend it in, especially underneath the eyes and like around the crooks of my nose, because it's a long bristle brush, so it will just really blend everything out quite nicely. I will also use this to apply eye primer, but very rarely. Like I always actually technically use this for concealer. And then I'll also use this to set underneath my eyes, or like specifically hot spot the face. So I'll go in with like a powder or my under eye setting powder, and I'll just like stamp it in underneath my eyes here and like get right up into this corner if I want very specific placement of powder. So I'll go in with the JH30 with Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. This is the collection's actually called the Master Makeup Eyebrush Collection, but they also have face, so the Master Makeup Collection, I think. Next brush that I have is very similar to the JH30, but it's a little bit more tapered and not so fluffy and not so big. And this is the 286 Duo Fiber brush from MAC Cosmetics. So again, it's got the 2 different kinds of bristles, and it's pretty much exactly the same as my 188 brush, except this one is a little bit more tapered. It's still a long bristle brush, but this one's also quite soft. So also we'll use this for concealers or specific placement of foundation that is super liquidy and like not a cream per se, because it's just nice to blend it in and to like kind of stamp and push in the product. And also again, I will use this to set underneath my eyes with like my eye setting powder and things like that, and do like very specific hot spotting with this brush. So it's very similar to the 188. It doesn't steal product, it blends it in to make it look super natural and super seamless. So this is the 286 brush from MAC. Word of caution though, I don't think you won't find this in the normal brushes tab on the website, because MAC right now is having a 40% off or 40% discount on some of their products, which basically means any of their products that are just not moving or are in the process of being discontinued, you'll find in that tab, and this brush is definitely one of them. So this will probably be on its way out, which is fine. It's not a train smash, because again, I have like other brushes that you can substitute this with, but if you really specifically want this brush, it's 40% off right now. Okay, and then my final brush for concealer is my 270S Slanted Dome concealer brush. So technically this is the baby to the foundation brush. You can see they're like exactly the same, just this is the foundation brush and this is the concealer brush. So I am a die-hard fan of this concealer brush. This concealer brush does things no other brush does. Did that make sense? Was that even English? I don't know. So again, it's very similar to that 170 foundation brush where it's like super pouncy. It feels like a sponge. It's still dense, but it still has like some movement in the brush. So this is really nice to fit and tuck in right underneath this eye area because of the slant. And especially for like thicker cream concealers or just liquid concealers that are much more creamy in consistency, this brush blends that out like a dream. And also when it comes to like breakouts and things like that, it really just blends everything in so seamlessly so that it looks super natural but doesn't cake the product on. So this, I find this and its sister, the foundation brush, they just do such a good job at buffing out product and just blending it in so that it looks super seamless, but you're getting the most out of your product because it really like pushes it into your skin, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so technically I only have like one powder brush because of reasons. I don't know what I was actually trying to say there. So whenever I am I don't normally wear powder. Let me just say that now. I don't normally wear powders or like set my face with a powder. I'll only really set underneath my eye. But if I am going to be applying a powder foundation, which I love to wear, I love my Studio Fix powder foundation to death. It's such a great powder foundation. But obviously I don't like using the sponge that comes with that compact, so I like applying it with a brush. And my favorite brush to apply that with is my Real Techniques powder brush. So technically this also does have like a number like the 188 and stuff like that, but mine's rubbed off, so like everything has rubbed off, so I don't actually know. But this is a Real Techniques powder brush. I got mine at Clicks and this was $4.80 I think, so it's really not that bad. It's on par with max pricing and it's of about the same quality. Like I have been rough and heavy cleaning these brushes and using them to like death, and like it has a really nice flare, so it's quite tapered at the neck, but it does give a really nice splay out, and you can see like it's super soft. And I just really like the way that this applies my powder foundation. So with the powder foundation, it's a full coverage matte product, but this somehow applies it that I get my coverage, but it's in a sheer layer that doesn't feel heavy, but it looks like I'm wearing something. I know that sounds really hard to hear, but that's why I just really like this brush. But it feels incredibly soft and it just feels so good on the skin. And then sometimes I'll also use this to like take down product on my neck or around my body if I'm doing like body highlights, or if I'm blending in like my body oils and things like that for when I tan. So this is a really great brush, and this is the Real Techniques powder brush. I don't know the number though. I want to say 20 something, but I'm not sure. Okay, so for brows, normally I don't use a brush. I don't use a brush to do my brows at all. I'll always use product like straight from the tube or straight from the pencil, but I do enjoy brushing out my brows just because recently I've had them laminated. So sometimes if I sleep funny at night, or if I don't know, bump my face, I need to brush my brows kind of like back into place. So I'll use this little spoolie mascara one thing. This one's from Isabella Garcier. I got it sent in a subscription box. So I have two of these, so I keep one in the bathroom and then one in my kit. And it has a very soft angled brush on the end. I don't actually use this end at all. I strictly only use this side for the spoolie. So I'll use this just to brush through my brows before I do them, and then just brush through after them if for some reason I went a little too heavy handed with like my brow gel, or they're just not sitting correctly and I just want to like kind of change the shape before the gel sets. So I'll always go in with this, and anytime in the morning after I've done my skincare and whatever, I'll just brush this through my brows just to kind of correct their shape. Let's get into eyes. Eyes is an insanely big category when it comes to brushes because I like to use so many for so many different things. So this is a biggie. The only brush I will ever use to apply my eye primer is the 286. So I have 2 of these. See, got 2 of them. And the reason why I bought 2 is because at the time that I purchased these, I was religious about using the one for the concealer and the one for my eye primer, just because that was what I was doing at that stage. And I think pretty much ever since I started working for MAC, this has been the only brush I use to apply eye primer, purely because it picks up enough and distributes enough that I cover the whole eye area, and it puts down a really good layer and it blends it out so that there's no like patchy areas, but it doesn't steal the product. So it's just really good for like getting that product everywhere and not having to like put too much down or not have enough down and then keep going in. I really like this brush for that. When it comes to putting eyeshadow in the crease, I'm really liking is again from the Morphe Jaclyn Hill collection, and this is the JH32. So this one is the white bristle brush. The white bristle brushes, if I can remember from the website, are the natural hair bristles. So this one is a natural bristle brush, and the reason why I like this so much is because I feel like it kind of mimics my 286, but it's a little bit more fluffier and it's a little bit more splayed out, where this one is, I feel like, a little too dense for the crease sometimes, unless I want to put like a wowy color in there. But if I just want to diffuse or like really soften out the crease after I have applied so many crease colors with a different brush and then just go back in with this one clean, I feel like this one just really diffuses eyeshadow nicely. It's again because it's a natural bristle, so because it's a natural bristle, it does tend to pick up more product, but it puts down very little product. So these brushes do tend to steal product because they pick up more than what they actually place on the eye. So this is the JH32 with Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. Get into like the actual blending brushes for the crease. So the first one I want to talk about is from MAC. This is a 217. Everyone and Bob's their uncle knows about a MAC 217. So this one is the natural bristle brush. So this one is still an OG. This is an old brush still, because MAC recently came out with 217S's, which technically means that these bristles are synthetic. So let me just hold them up like side by side for you so you can see. So you can see the one on this side is super dense. It's very compact. There's not a lot of splay, where this one is the natural one. Has a little bit more splay and has a little bit more give. So I will use my 217S's. I have 3 of them, I think. Yeah, so altogether I've got 2 synthetic and then 1 natural. So the 217 synthetic ones, I will keep these for like doing the outer V, the darker colors for the outer V, or to shade out lips if I want to do like a blurred lip or something like that. These are really nice because they're quite dense. I hate the synthetic brushes. They just don't work the same as the natural ones for some reason, and everyone's like, oh no, they're exactly the same. No, they're not. So I will use this for like underneath my eye, or to apply a dark color right in like the lash line going up into the crease, but you'll very rarely see me use this just because I don't like the synthetic ones. I prefer the natural one. This one just picks up product. It blends it out amazingly because it's super soft. This, because it fits into the crease area quite nicely, you can blend it straight on like that or switch it over so that you get the width of it all and just really blend out and diffuse the color in the crease. I like completely lost what I wanted to say there. I have one that's pretty much exactly the same as the natural one. This is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill JH33. So this is also a natural bristle, but I mean it looks pretty much exactly the same to the 217. You wouldn't know the difference, in all honesty. It feels exactly the same. It fits in the eye area really nicely, like it just tucks in and just diffuses eyeshadow beautifully. So like the only real difference is that this one is the more inexpensive one, because it's Morphe. So yeah, so it's the 217 from MAC and the JH33 from Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. I only have one packing brush that I am obsessed with recently. I used to be such a die-hard fan for the 239s from MAC, which is this brush right here. Like this was the only packing brush I knew, and then, you know, of course I got a Morphe brush, and this one is just so much better. This is the JH41 packing brush from Morphe. So this shape and concept is very similar to like a MAC 242, yeah. I don't have that brush because I didn't like the MAC 242, and now that I have this, I'm like, why didn't I get a MAC 242? But I mean, regardless, so this brush is great for putting down lid colors, to putting down pigments, to putting down glitters, to cut the crease because of the shape. Like you can just really sharpen and cut out that crease with this brush. This is the JH41 from Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. Let's get into the under the eye brushes. This is the JH40 from Morphe with Jaclyn Hill. So you can see it's super tapered at the bottom. It's super pointy at the top. So you can either do this to just touch up that crease if you have like done a cut crease or something, like I normally go back in just to intensify the color there. But this, I use this underneath here to like blend out everything and just to soften and smoke out underneath the eye, because it's just a really great size and shape for underneath the eye. So this is again the JH40 brush from Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. I am going to be smoking out any kind of pencil or applying a very dark eyeshadow as a liner in underneath my eyes. I will go in with either one of these brushes. So they're both from the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill collection. This one is this one is the JH39 and this one is the JH43. So you can see this one is a more tightly packed, condensed, almost like an eyeliner type of brush, but it's a flat definer brush. So I will go into my eyeshadow and like tight line that right underneath in my lashes here and get it nice and tight, and then blend it out with this pencil brush. So I do prefer this to the MAC pencil brush. I don't actually have it here, which is stupid of me because now I can't even show you the difference. So this one is more dense and is shorter in bristle, where the MAC one is more of like a bullet shape. So it's very pointy at the top. This one is just much softer. It has more movement to it, which is why I like it to like apply with this and then smoke out with this. And if I really want to like just put something soft underneath my eye, I'll go in with this. So I already talked about that. So this is the JH39 and the JH43. For liners and inner corners, let's do inner corners first. My favorite brush is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill JH42. I have never ever owned a brush like this before. I know that sounds ridiculous because I know for a fact MAC has one, and I used to use the MAC one so often, but I just never actually got round to buying it for myself for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, so when I was gifted this brush collection, this brush was in it, and I'm just like, done, easy. So I like using this only and very specifically for inner corner highlight, just because it fits in there so nicely and you can just use it to highlight that area. You can also kind of use this for like your brow bone, but I feel like because it's such an intense, like tight-ish brush, it might just apply too much. So I prefer using a blending brush for that. And then for liners, this is the 208 small angle brush from MAC. This is technically the brow brush, so they do have a bigger size in this for eyeliner, and I like a tighter bristle when doing like my wings and stuff. So this is the 208 small angled brush. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember now, but this is also part of the 40% off discount on MAC's website. If not, I'm very sorry. I will double check. I should probably double check, but I'm almost positive I saw this brush there. Don't hold me to it. Absolute favorite eyeliner brush, you've seen me use this plenty on this channel, is the 210 Precise eyeliner brush from MAC. I absolutely adore this for doing like super thin detailed wing liner work. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just go in and messily do my wing liner with the angle brush and then go back in with this and clean it up and like really sharpen up the edge, and I get right into the inner corner here and just really clean up and spruce up everything with this brush. This is the 210 Precise eyeliner brush from MAC. The first one is the 140 fan brush from MAC. The handle was part of a collection, but this brush is still stay in line in like the normal handle. So this came out with the next and I think collection that MAC did. This is from MAC if I haven't said so. They came out with a foundation brush this shape, and this is the powder brush. So technically yes, it is a powder brush, but I love to bronze with this because it's super bendy, it's super flexible, and the actual shape, the way it's designed to be able to pick up product and distribute it evenly on the face. So that's why I like using it in this area, because of the shape, and you can like get into your hairline. So this is the 140 fan brush from MAC. The collection that this is from was the Mirage Noir collection, the bronzing collection that happened a few years back. So this is still stay in line if I'm not mistaken. It might also be part of the 40% off discount, but I think I only saw the foundation brush. I'm not sure, so just check it out. The other brush that I absolutely love to bronze with is this one here. So this is the 135 flat paddle brush, flat something brush. They've labeled it as flat something brush. So I have two of these. This one was part of a collection because you can see the handle is like designer, and then I have the normal stay in line one. This is definitely part of the 40% off, not so much the collection one because this was part of the Robert Lee Morris collection from like years ago. But the normal stay in line 135 is definitely on the website. I've seen it there so many times, and the reason why I like this is because it's a super soft paintbrush. It looks like a huge paintbrush. It's super soft, it's super tapered at the base, and then just splays out really nicely. So some of the bristles are a little bit shorter than the other, and the reason why I like that is so that when you go into your product, when you go in with your product, it picks up product evenly, and then when you apply it to your face, the longer bristles will apply, but the shorter bristles will blend out. And because as you can see, it's a long bristle, long natural bristle, so there's lots of movements, so you can't contour with this at all. This is like strictly for like bronzing and powder. So this is the 135 from MAC. Okay, so for contouring specifically, I have brushes for powders and I have brushes for creams. So let's get into the cream brush first. So this is the Real Techniques 303 contour brush. This was part of the Rush Crush collection, or the Galaxy Crush collection, something Crush collection, because you can see like their handle is different to the handle, and the bristle is different to like their normal stay in line brush. So I really like this one because it's like a kabuki brush. It's super dense. There is a little bit of movement, like you can see it does move, but I specifically like this for super edgy contour, cream contouring, liquid contouring, like anything with a liquid. I will almost always pick up this brush just because it puts down a really great defining line, but it's still, you're still able to like blend out with it. But if you want like a super cut contour, Kim K, JLo Snatchel moment, this is the brush for you. So this is the 303 Real Techniques contouring brush. Then if I want precise powder contour, I will go in with the 109 small contour brush from MAC. So it's a round top brush. It's super small, and this helps to really get into like that under the bone area, what do you call it, like the hollow of your cheek, but it's still soft and still provides enough movement to like blend everything out, because it picks up product evenly but distributes it evenly as well, because it's a synthetic bristle, so it's not going to steal your product. Then lastly, for like contouring and bronzing, I've referred on my channel a lot to like bronzering, and that's like the term I've given myself for when I'm not particularly contouring but I'm not quite bronzing my skin. It's like a little bit of both, or like in between. I will almost always use this brush. This is the 168 large angle contour brush from MAC. This is the OG one, because again, they've gone and redone all their brushes, so all the natural ones are gone and they only have synthetic ones. So this is an OG natural brush, or natural bristle brush. So this one's quite nice because it's angled. So this tucks into the cheek area right here quite nicely, so that you can create like quite a defined line, but then rely on the top to just blend everything out. And you can use this to like shape that under the cheekbone area. I sometimes use this for nose, like messy nose contouring, and things like that. So I really like this because you can make your contour precise, or you can keep your bronzer very natural but still like specifically placed. So I really like using this brush to do my bronzering, you know. So again, this is the 168 large angle brush from MAC. This brush specifically I go back and forth between, because I kind of use it for everything. For me, it's a multi-use brush, and this is my SmashBox Billable Cheek Brush. So I will use this literally for just about everything. I will use this to set underneath my eye here if I'm going in with under eye powder. I will use this to highlight. I will use this for blush. Like, I use this specifically just for this area, but for like a lot of things. I won't use this to like bronze or contour, because it's a super soft bristle brush. So the reason why I like this brush is because it's got so many different lengths of bristles. So there's a super long bristle, pointy kind of end, there's an angled end, there's tapered bristles at the back here. So I feel like the shape of the brush can help you out in so many ways. So the other thing I really like about this brush is you see these indentations here. So you know, like in grade 1 or grade 2, when you were like battling to hold a pencil or a pen, and your teacher like stuck on that eraser looking thing with these little indentations so that you could grip and learn how to grip the pen correctly. So it has those indentations in this handle, so it just makes it so comfortable to like hold and use your brush. And so this is the SmashBox Buildable Cheek Brush. Okay, and then for highlighting, other than my SmashBox brush, there are two brushes I use depending on the mood I'm in. So this is the 137 long blending brush from MAC. I know that sounds really weird, long blending brush. This is also one of the other brushes that are like super multifunctional to me, like my SmashBox brush, because I will use this for highlighter, I will use this for blush, and I'll use this to like powder the face. So like, this is so cutely dubbed at MAC as the kitten paw. So like, you can ask any MAC artist, what do you call a 137? They will almost always say a kitten paw or a cat paw or something like that. Like anything for like soft application, this is your guy. Okay, and then if I want very precise, beaming, intense, conscientious placement of my highlighter, I'll go in with the Real Techniques 402 setting brush. So again, it just depends with this brush. Sometimes I will use this as well, like to set my under eye powder there. So to use my eye powder to set underneath my eye, duh. But lately, or 95% of the time, I will use this for like super intense highlight and just hit like the really top part of my cheekbone, and like across the nose, and like across my cupid's bow, and just do super precise highlighting with this, because it's soft but dense at the same time, and it's also got the long bristles in the middle and the shorter ones on the side, so it makes it super easy to like blend out your product. So this is the Real Techniques 402 setting brush. So this is a 316 lip brush from MAC. So as you can see, this is purely the reason why I like this brush. Heck to application, this is just so genius. So you pull the brush out, right, because this is the protective cap or cover for the brush, so that if you do just like throw this in your bag, it's not going to roll around and mess up like your makeup bag. Okay, so it's a protective cover, and then you slot this in, and hey girl, hey, you have a full-sized brush. My neighbor's home. And then you can just go in and like apply your lipstick, and then when you're done, close up the cap and chuck it in your bag. So genius. That's literally the only reason why I like this brush. So this is the 316 from MAC. The bristles are dense but still have some flexibility to it, and it's super pointy at the top here, as you can see, so that you can get right into doing that cupid's bow and like your inner corners here. And then the belly of the brush is quite flat and fat enough that you can just swipe on your lipstick and just fill in the gap. So I really like this brush, again, just really because I can do that and pull out a magic trick. Okay, so that is literally all my top favorite brushes that I just naturally reach for regardless of whose face I'm doing. Like, there's certain things that you can skimp on. Brushes for me are not one of those things. I need good quality high-end brushes, and I know I have this fight with my friends a few times, or quite a lot. Like they'll be like, oh my gosh, have you gone to Miniso? They have like Real Technique knockoff brushes, and I'll be like, okay, I'm putting that on my face, I'm sorry. It needs to be OG real high-end brand, or bye. I'm sorry, I'm very particular about certain things in my kit. Certain things need to be high-end of good quality, and then other things are like, it's okay, it does the same thing, you know. And I hope I gave you some kind of good or great ideas or suggestions or recommendations. How many more synonyms can I say? Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next tutorial, which is a tutorial.